All right, super excited for this one. My main man, Steve Chang here, and we're going to talk about the basketball, also known as the B-ball book. I got the link in the description there. Steve, thank you, man, for letting me do all this. Look, we got all these people watching, but break this down for me, man. You're a children's book author now, so how did this...
Unpublished.
Unpublished. We'll get to that. But how did this all start? What gave you the idea that ding? You kind of said it in my letter on Instagram, but for people who don't know, what made you say, hey, I'm going to write a children's book? 4 kiddos now, right?
You know, the true story behind it was my wife.
Okay.
She was the one who said, she came up to me, she said, there aren't any children's books about basketball. And
there's a need there.
There was a need for it. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, I said, no, I don't want to do it. And then my wife was like, no, you should do it. So I did it.
Yep.
Because you do what your wife tells you, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you got to kind of put it in words.
Yeah, but I thought it was also a really good opportunity to, share. She said, write it for your kids.
Right.
Share what you've learned about basketball and about life and put it into a book. So.
And it's really hard to put into words, too, all the off-the-court principles. Steve and I played together. But first, let's talk about this, man. Why don't you guys take a look at... This probably made your life miserable because it's probably made it so expensive. And, guys, the link is in the description, too. If you guys want to check it out, you can check it out. But this had to be a debate. It's straight up as like a basketball and spalling itself. Did this make things tough, like the pricing and so forth?
Yeah, it made it a little expensive.
Right.
But as a, self-employed, I'm trying to figure out how to bring the price down, but still keep the authenticity. Because it was kind of the idea I had when I had the vision for the book, is to have it as a basketball. And
the value is there, right? So people can check this out. You got the IG handle, right?
Yes.
At bballbook.com. Why don't we go through and just freaking read it? Read it now one time. What we'll do is we'll take, if that's okay with you, and then we'll kind of talk about the things behind it. So I go, and then you go. And I want to hear your insight about the method to the madness kind of behind that. And if you can't see it on Facebook, sorry, you're going to have to check it out. But I'm going to keep it here for the YouTube that I'll be uploading later. Prince Benitez is watching. Benitez! Hey, Fernandez, how you doing? Good to see you, Prince. Prince played with us at Notre Dame, too. Had some great times. But this thing gets deep, man. You gotta check it out, and we'll talk about each principle. So the first one goes, for the kiddos who are watching, I'll do the first one. Around them orange, I got squiggly lines, small little bumps made of leather, so fine. So you chose the character to actually be the ball.
Yeah, that was an accident, I guess. I don't know. It just kind of started out like that.
And we're going to talk about the hilarious drawings in here in a second. And I go bounce, I go dribble. Oh, you got this one. I'm sorry.
Okay, I go bounce, I go dribble. You can give me a spin, shoot me up high, and watch me go in.
And there's so much going on here. We'll get to there. Basketball, yes, that is me. 1 point or 2. I can make even 3. I'll talk later about why it's so important and kind of the research behind reading to your kids, which was just phenomenal. I didn't even know. I haven't had kids yet. Steve-O has 4 little ones right now. But what I love most about being a ball are the lessons I teach to one and to all. Some basketball players are short and some are tall. The color of your skin doesn't matter at all. Why did you think that was important? Because it's kind of self-explanatory, right? Sports, the great unifier. It's the one place where it doesn't matter what you look like, right? Either you have game or you don't. But I feel like you're really talking to your kids, right? Here, that was kind of...
Yeah, I think, at least for that page, I don't know, I always thought that was something that
so important.
Was so cool about sports, especially basketball, is that it doesn't really matter where you're from or what you look like or how much money you have, how much money you don't have. It's like you got to find a way to work together to win, and it's helped me meet people from all different types of walks of life, and I'm so grateful for it.
The way we met, Benitez, Eric Bossum,
Yeah.
guy comes in with cowboy boots and dip in his mouth, and then he's dunking like crazy. Unbelievable, great times, and I think it's a great thing for the kiddos as well to learn that early on. But it gets far deeper, man. We're just getting started. How much money you have, to me, it's the same. You must work together to win at this game. We kind of just talked about that already, but it's kind of the one place where none of that stuff matters, right? You got to work together. You got to put all that aside, and I'm sure that's. What were your thoughts on that? Why did you feel that was important? That money don't mean crap.
Yeah.
Archbishop Mitty Kid talking. Classes put aside, occupations put aside.
I don't.
You got to put the ego aside, and you hoop together, right?
I mean, where it's like one of the only areas in life where it's like that really isn't
It's fair.
It doesn't matter. Everyone's equal.
Right.
Everywhere else in life, it's like your money, how much money you have, and those things really.
And if Steve's sweating when I arrived right now, he was pushing 2 kids up a hill out here in Burbank, and plus we always sweat constantly, anyways.
It's my daily workout.
Been sweating our whole damn life. On to the next. If you do fall, get a scrape on your knee. Remember, getting back just shows who you'll be. Life's universal principles. Again, get back up. You're gonna get knocked down, right? And putting that in kids early, and expect that, right? Gonna put it in their head, right?
Of course.
You feel the same way?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with especially with my kids now. There's a lot of falling down, things like that. But I think there is the literal, falling down aspect of the book. But when they get older, I think there's times when life will.
Yeah, and if you go. You just ignore it, right, when they fall. I hear that all the time from parents. If you give them attention towards it, then they'll do the fake cry.
There's time.
Right?
You decipher which is the real cries and the fake cries. But
right.
Yeah, but I think in life, when you get older, there's times when you metaphorically fall.
Right.
You get knocked down, and it's not how you get back up.
Right? Life will kick you while you're down, man.
Life will kick you, man.
We're putting it in their head early with that, right? I love it, dude. You did an awesome job with this. Winning is great. It's the reason we play, but you will learn very quick. You don't win every day, and there's far deeper meaning to that of how to handle loss, right? I think it gets into sportsmanship, but you're not going to win every day, right? With these kids, it's kind of become something else, right? It'll ruin their whole day. What was going through your mind you felt is important, kind of a way for them to deal with loss, be ready for that?
Yeah, I just think, I was when I was in high school playing, our team, we didn't win a lot. We had a lot of losses.
Mitty, what? Powerhouse?
There was a time, man. There was a time. And I feel like those days were very, they kind of made me and my teammates into who we were. You have to go through some tough times to kind of figure out who you are. But I think they're as needed as the wins. You need the losses to.
Right, to enjoy the good times.
Yeah,
right?
They make it more special.
All right, what do we got? There'll be times when you lose. You may feel like less, but you must learn to lose before becoming a success. I think you just answered that well, brother. Now this people may cry, she's too short to be good, but it might be an advantage to be misunderstood. I love that you addressed girls in there, right? Yeah. Is that the wife said, you better have girls in there too?
No, that was when we had our daughter, and I was like, I wanted a book for her. So.
Right. It's got to be for both. Maybe you're fast, maybe you're smart, maybe you're the one who has the most heart. We all unique when we step on the court. Finding your gifts make you good at this sport. I'll let you go first with that one. But I think you saw in my notes too that understanding your roles as well, right? On the court, every kid wants to be Steph Curry. Everybody wants to shoot threes, but if you want to be on the court, you can play post or do those type of things, bring value. So essentially, it's embedding those things early that everybody is going to have to play their part, right? On
Yeah,
the court.
I think there's I think there's really on and off the court. I think everyone has a purpose, and sometimes it's just finding out what
Self-awareness.
yeah,
Right?
self-awareness, finding out what those things are. But yeah, I found when I got older, I feel like I'm very good at setting screens. It's like I could just set screens on people all day. I don't need to be the one scoring and shooting and things like that.
And if that's your thing, do your thing. And these kids are watching the NBA. I feel like they're missing that part. What value can you give to your team, given the players that you have right then and there, and understanding your role and knowing your roles? But everybody just wants to shoot threes or wants to dunk, right? But by embedding this in these kids early, I think that's a wonderful thing. That's what goes on in my mind.
Yeah, totally.
I hope I captured that somewhat.
You did, man.
Let's see here. If you're not good at first, don't give up on me. It takes a lot of practice to find how good you can be. So obviously he's talking to the ball himself, but translate for me, Steve. What do you feel with this adversity? Just because you're not giving, things aren't going right the first time, you just give up on something and go to the next.
I think that's this is a life lesson, right? It's about anything. It takes passion, and I think it takes a lot of hard work. And I hope that my children realize that someday that it ain't gonna be easy.
Yep.
It ain't gonna be easy. You gotta put in the work to get where you want to be. So.
And setting that expectation. So many life principles, man. I always thought about reading this book, but it's just so hard to put into words, and only athletes know. And you did it in a children's book. Man, that's very cool. I'm proud of you for that. And that's why I just took a red eye to LA and just showed up here right now on a dime. He's a very busy man, and I know that sometimes we got to just get things done. Thank you all for joining us. By the way, check out the description as well. The bballbook.com. Straight landing page. Your wife's an attorney. How did you address the whole publisher thing? Because that's such a mess. I think you did the right thing by, it's 2019, right? By avoiding all that, creating a landing page. Yes, the marketing ain't going to be as easy, but sometimes these book distributors, they don't see things through, and there's probably a lot of hassle and bustle. So did she suggest that as well? And they're going to want a huge cut. Like Harry Potter got refused 18 times before somebody finally took a gamble on it, which proves they don't know what the heck they're talking about, right? How did you attack that part? We'll just do straight up. We'll do it on our own.
I didn't have a choice.
You were basically like, okay, this is the only way we're going to do this.
That's the only way I knew how. I don't know much about publishing books or anything like that.
Just get it out there.
I feel like it's similar to acting. It's like you kind of need an agent to get into an audition, but how to get an agent. Nobody will accept submissions.
Right.
It's a very kind of who knows who world, and it's kind of a lock and key type world. So I didn't know, and so we were just like, okay, we'll just try this self-publishing route, and we'll see how it goes.
I think
hopefully
it's going to do great. I know it's going to do great. It'll withstand the test of time. By the way, Steve is an actor as well. That's not how I know him. I know the humble before Steve. But for those who don't know, anything you're working on, you want to plug Stephen A. Chang. There's a few others.
There's a Stephen Chang as well.
He's in a chemistry or something weird. That's why I kept throwing A in there. But just to catch people up, how are things coming along? It's like trying to be a musician and go to Hollywood. I respect you for doing it, but Diddle Tidbit 90210, Everything Before Us. Any other things that you're currently in the works?
A couple of things in the works. It was.
If you can't share anything, that's totally fine. Improv classes every week. I heard that you got to do.
That used to be. That was the former life. After kids, there's not much time for improv classes.
You're doing improv every day with the kids.
With the kids, yeah, with the kids, man. I mean, it was cool. The thing, that opportunity I got with, had a very, 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 very small part in the Captain Marvel movie.
What?
So.
Oh, you mentioned me at the wedding.
Yeah.
And my first question was like, Wolverine. That was totally off. It's not Captain Marvel. We used to love Wolverine.
Yeah.
What went with that?
It was. I mean, I play like
an extra.
Close enough. I played like a drill sergeant who gives the main character a hard time. You kind of briefly see me in a flashback.
But is this the Captain Marvel Avengers type deal that just went number one? Right?
Yeah, I think it was very popular.
Yeah, it was top grossing over something else. I remember breaking. But
I tried to take my son to it, but since it wasn't a cartoon, we didn't last long.
Okay.
So I haven't seen it yet.
Got it. We had this long old crazy notes. I knew we weren't going to need this. I knew we weren't going to use this. But we'll carry on. We'll get through the book as well, just so you guys can see who aren't athletes, the real deeper meaning here. That I think it's really great for all kids. The universal principles, because they all translate to life essentially in one way or another. Shooting me up into the hoop can be fun, but a team is made up of more than just one. Keep your head high. You'll see all that you missed, helping your team win with the assist. This goes back to the values of it's a game of pass, right? And again, kids they judge themselves by how much they scored that day versus all the other little things. What was going through your head with it? I mean, it literally means what it means, but in your mind, you felt it's important for your son or daughter to know.
Yeah, I think I learned this much, much, much later in life, but there's much value in physically and metaphorically keeping your head up, looking and seeing your surroundings.
Vision.
Seeing what's happening around you. Because kind of all the answers are right there if you look, if you're not in your head, if you're not thinking how things should be or what I want it to be, but if you just kind of just see what's happening around you, the lane will open up, the right path will open up. But that takes a long time to learn, I feel like.
Right, and putting yourself before others, knowing that sometimes the pass and the assist is more important than the guy who scored the ball as well, which goes back to knowing your role. Right? Maybe you're a point guard who's great at that. Coaches love that it's not all about how many points did you score, right, that day. That's what went through my mind. You can see what went through the creative geniuses mind. But again, it's so important to read to your children. I'll talk about that more and some of the statistics that I came across. But let's get through this book first. Who did all these drawings? Tell me that was you.
Sadly, it's me. Yeah. I know.
They're great. They're great, and there's hilarious things going on through and within there. But I think the core here of the book itself was the most powerful for me, even though I'm not a child. I know that it will be. Okay, this is kind of a controversial topic with the 8th place trophies. Individual awards aren't as good as they seem. It's much more rewarding when you do it as a team. These are all rhetorical, but it's again putting it in kids' heads that it's not all about how you did. Putting the team first. Anything else that was going through your head? Feel free to elaborate. Individual awards aren't as good as they seem. It's much more rewarding when you do it as a team. It's also much more harder.
Yeah, I think it's something I learned. It's kind of a hard lesson I learned in life. But I had some success in high school, and I got recognized for things, and but we didn't win. we weren't getting any wins. And then
it's kind of like scoring 40 points in a game and then you lose.
It's not really worth anything. So finding a way to kind of, again, work with the team and find a way to do it together. It's much more fulfilling and satisfying than any individual award you could ever receive.
Yeah, bro. I said I couldn't agree more, but I honestly want to hear your thoughts on this. And I got it. Um, all right, let's move on because the second half just gets even more powerful and deeper to me. Becoming more proud of this guy. The opponents you'll play won't always be friends, but always make sure you shake hands in the end. I thought this was so important. This next one goes into it too, but sportsmanship, just dealing with loss. Things aren't always going to go your way in life, but I think it takes a dropping of ego to be able to shake that guy's hand and say, "Hey, it's all good. I'm going to get you next time," right? How and why do you feel that that's important for children to understand? Because I feel like somebody who's not in athletics that moves on with life without accepting that, there's a certain level of victimism, of finger pointing, of this and that. I feel like that's so important for kids, no matter what organized um, team you play in. Is that kind of your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that it's such a competitive sport, and you can get so caught up in the ego and wanting to be better than this person, and wanting to show them up or beat them. But at the end of the day, when you kind of step back from it, especially when you're not playing anymore, you look back and you think, wow, these people are actually the ones that taught me, hey, maybe I need to work on my left more. Maybe I need to work on this, work on that. And they kind of teach you. They're more teachers than.
And you again have to accept loss. That hey, they were the better team that day, right? They beat us fair and square. But I feel like kids who miss out on that aspect, I think it could translate into not so good ways in life. That having that as an athlete really helps them, right? Continue to deal with those things. Very cool. Let's move. Let's see. What do we got? If I can see some of this reflection. Basketball is a balance, so always try and explore. If you can dribble with your right, use your left that much more. And I think this goes back to improving your weaknesses, right? Right hand's good, but you fear your left hand sucks. Improve your left hand. Carries on with life, right? Being a perfectionist, always trying to get better. Gary Vee disagrees. He says double down on your strengths, screw your weaknesses. Well, that's a little more in business. That's not in basketball. But constant improvement. Is that kind of your message?
I think, there's the literal, teaching for, athletes, for basketball players of, working on your weaknesses. But I think, in the greater scheme of things, I think it's a lot what, my wife teaches me about, life is about balance. It's about being able to, too much of one thing is good, too much of another thing isn't good. Finding that kind of middle way, that's kind of the key. So I think it applies to sports as well.
Look them in the eye and tell them good game. Why did you want to look them in the eye? I mean, completely release ego. Don't show crappy body language. Accept it for what it is, right? I remember being frustrated in 17 and approaching this wise senior, and I was like, "Oh, how do I get better? I did this. I should have done this." And I was so constantly down on myself. And Steve looked at me and said, "Roman, you live to play another day, my man. You live to play another day. Don't be so hard on yourself, And I was just going to be a freshman there. We had a whole bunch of seniors who left and just constantly want to be better. But you can't overdo it. There has to be a level of optimism there of next play, right? Forget about it. Don't dwell on that. And I appreciate that, by the way. Obviously, I remember that. I'm being almost 32 now. What Steve told me when we were 17. God damn, we're old. We've known each other that long.
We're old.
That's pretty cool. I love this. To me, is leadership defined right here. When you're the best on the court, show others the way, help them become better players today. If you're having some trouble and don't get it as quick, asking for others for help just might do the trick. For the second part, let's start with the first part. You're the best on the court, show the others the way, help them become better players today. I'll let you go first. To me, that's leadership defined right there, right?
Yeah, I think there's, like you're saying, it's what being a leader is.
Removing ego, being humble.
Yeah, but I mean, you never know. I think this page could apply to the same person. There's days when you will be the best and maybe helping others when they need help. But there's going to be times when you ain't the best on the court, and or in life, and sometimes you're asking for people around you for help. I think
Right.
there's a lot of value.
Right. And you're within your team. You're only as strong as your crappiest player, right? Your weakest link. So you should be constantly wanting a true leader who's good enough. He's going to want to help others. And it's crazy to me how afraid kids are of just asking, right? Others and asking for help. I don't know if that goes back
As an
to
adult,
ego.
too, it's hard to ask for.
It is, but I remember I was calling Paul Fangera, and I didn't even know him. And I'm like, dude, I want to be better. I want to get better at the sport. What should I do? And I think that probably surprised people. Who the hell is this kid? He's got no ego. He's actually asking for help. So he told me what protein to drink, what this to do, and then I wanted to surround myself with him as well. Paul was a teammate of yours in Midi as well, and that led on to so many things. And I tell my nephews this all the time, like, who's the best player at your school? Tell me in the next 5 seconds you'll be able to say his name. And they go, boom. I go, walk up to him at recess, and I want you to go up to him, and I want you to ask him where they're hooping, I don't want to do that. Oh, I thought you said you want to get better. I thought you said you want to make the team. And he went and did that, and boom, he was off. And if that guy's where he is, he's not going to reject you. If he does, he's an asshole. But he's not going to reject you. He's more likely to say, yeah, absolutely, right? And help you out. You can't be afraid to ask. And I think that's what the second embodies. If you're having some trouble, don't get it as quick. Asking others for help just might do the trick. This is some pretty crazy stuff. So obesity is, obviously epidemic in our children. In this one, you felt you wanted to address all day in the gym may be good for your heart, but hard work in the classroom sets good players apart. Obviously, you focus on education, but this formula pretty unique. What the heck? What made you come up with this idea? It says, what does it say, Steve? You're not just your body, you're also your mind. A smart basketball player is one of a kind.
You got it, man.
So it has these kind of puzzles within. And again, check out the link in the description if you really want to see it. Hey, Mr. Carlos, good to see you. But break this one down for Mr. Carlos is an artist himself, so he'd probably be impressed by this. Who had the idea to throw that kind of cryptic puzzle within the formula? Is that just a nerd in you? What made?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just sometimes I don't know where things come from. But yeah, it was just an idea, and I thought it was cool.
But you felt it's important to also display the aspect of, obviously priorities, academics before basketball, but also letting the reader, the parents, and the kids know that exercise very important.
Yeah,
right?
I think exercise. I think that again, it goes back to the balance thing.
You're not just your body; you're also your mind.
Yeah, but I think there's you need to practice. You need to practice. But I think school and things like that makes you a thinker. It helps you to think. It helps you to figure out problems. Mm-hmm. And when you can think, and when you're smart on the basketball court, it's like, man, you're untouchable. Right? It's like smart guys on the court are.
100%. I couldn't agree more. It's such a thinking sport, and it's actually not a physique type sport, even though you're as swole as you were and still are. Back then, basketball and weightlifting, it's more essentially to prevent injury in our sport, right? You look at Kevin Durant and all of them, they're not the biggest guys, but what's more important is, that's what I had here. You remember the Princeton team, it's a game of pass, intelligence, technique always beats muscle, right? As far as footwork in the post and so forth, that kind of embodied this for me. You hit me, man. You made me. I was choking up crying the other day. Playing defense alone would make anyone fear, so make sure to speak up to let others know when you're near. Communication. Setting screens. Like you said. You're not alone, kiddo. Someone's always got your back. If you make a mistake, they'll help get you on track. When we made a mistake, we had to run liners with Puo. But you can't learn without making mistakes. I think it's so important. Some of the coaches do it wrong. Would you agree in that way? It should be a learning environment where it's not the end of the world if you make a mistake. So they're not afraid to ask. Somebody's always got your back, right? And you should. I mean, how else do we learn without trial and error?
No,
Right?
definitely. I think that part of it. I think, you know, I think this page was specifically for my children and hopefully other parents with their children that we're here for you.
Yep,
it's
you could talk to us, right?
Yeah, you're gonna make mistakes and things are gonna be hard.
And the last thing you want is an environment where they don't want to come to you and talk to you.
Yeah, no, that's
about
definitely one of my fears when they get older.
Right. Back to communication. Playing defense alone would make anyone fear, so just make sure to speak up, to let others know when you're near. Communicating on the court, communicating early, calling the screen early makes it so simple, and I'm amazed that kids, the more thing I have to yell at them is, talk, and then they're all just dead quiet. And I'm like, talk to each other. You got to help each other out. I mean, maybe that's with time as they build chemistry with each other. They don't want to see their guy get taken out, right? But when you're guarding someone, you're alone. Easy and I would love, calling right, left, and it ends up helping us get a turnover more quickly. And over communicating is the way I like to think of it. But obviously that was the goal here, is putting that in their head.
I'm glad you got that.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Let's see. At the end of the day, if you wish to get ahead, all it takes is showing up while others sleep in their bed. Tell me about this one.
Yeah, I think sometimes I remember when I did some coaching, and sometimes the hardest part was just getting the kids to the gym to practice, which sounds crazy.
Right.
But I think that's honestly sometimes that's the only way you get better. Is you gotta show up. It ain't gonna be easy. You ain't always gonna be good. You're gonna make mistakes, but sometimes it's just about showing up while others are not showing up. And I think that sometimes that's the.
Then you have the kids who, after practice, want to keep on practicing. You got to kick them out of the gym. But I mean, Larry Bird quote went through my head on this one. That right now, while you're sitting on the couch, there's somebody somewhere out there who's working hard to take your spot. And how that kind of drives you up to say, oh shit, well, I shouldn't be sitting on my ass, and to go do something. But I think it puts in their head early that insane work ethic is required. And now that we got the European market and Europe kids, it's even tougher for anybody to go to the NBA. I heard statistics like you have a better chance getting struck by lightning than making it into the NBA. That was some Warriors camp coach. But we probably shouldn't tell kids that. They're like, okay, so these are my chances. This one sums up why we're both here right now. And when you look back at all that you've done, you won't remember the points or games that are won. Eric still reminds me of the time he beat SF State by 2 points. So that's a lie. No, I'm kidding. But at the end of the day, and I know this one goes into it, it will be those who fought as your friend, brothers and sisters, from now to the end. We barely played a year together, Steve, or 2 years together, and I'm still here many years later because, when you have teammates and athletes, it's something that's hard to explain, but just your bond, right? You went to war. I remember you saying football's like the closest thing to war. But one thing about team sports is chemistry, and I think that was so important. What were you thinking when?
Yeah, honestly, when I look back at my career, I don't remember games or what games we won, which games we lost,
or how many points you scored.
Yeah, I don't remember those things, and those things are very important to you when you're younger. I only really remember the relationships and the people that I met along the way. And it's hard to know that in the moment, but I hope my kids and other kids
remember that early.
Remember that. Sometimes take a step back and look at the bigger picture, but it's hard to know it in the moment. Right.
It's a beautiful thing too, man. Else I would have never known you, right? The game kind of brought us together in that way. It's the same common goal. So close your eyes and dream as big as you wish. Maybe you'll see it on or see you on TV. Shoot and go swish. There's actually a female president.
You saw it, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
noticed that right now. There's so many cool things. Um, I'll let you go first on this one. Like if people aren't laughing at your goals, you're not setting them high enough,
yeah.
right? If you want your daughter son to know is just dream big and just set that, right?
Yeah, I think you have to have dreams. You have to have purpose. So I think those things are great. I think that, yeah, I want, like you're saying, I want my kids to be able to have big dreams.
Have ridiculous dreams and set them super high, right? And this last page kind of sets a sense of realism. And if you don't make it, you have the most important job of them all, teaching your child someday how to fall. Yeah, it's not the end of the world if you don't, but now you got an opportunity to pass that on to your kiddos.
Yeah, I think the greatest thing in life. I mean, it sounds, everyone says it, but really the greatest thing is being a parent. And so at the end of the day, if you don't always meet all your goals and things that you always want to do, but there's something much, much, much better and rewarding and fulfilling out there.
You can live vicariously through that.
Yeah, you can live through your kids, yeah.
I think that's awesome. We just went through the big. What the hell was the idea? It's hard to answer these questions because you're just vibing and creatively doing things. But then the closet door with the lace sneakers hanging out, and it fades all the way into just the doorknob itself,
yeah.
With just the spec. Any insight, any method to the mass by that? Rarely do people get to actually hear the author interpret things later. I know it sounds crazy, but when this thing is big, 5-10 years from now, you're gonna look back on this video and laugh. But and people are gonna be looking it up as well to hear the author's take. It was just fade out idea. Was there like there's too many pages here? I know you went through that thought. Is this too long? But it's up to you. It's your creation, right?
Yeah, I think the ending was just kind of hanging them up. It's like this is what I've learned in my process. I'm sure everyone else has their own opinions about what they've learned through the game, but this is mine. This is what I have to offer. Hanging them up. Time to move on.
That's awesome. I want to see. I feel like we've covered just about everything, all the universal principles. Oh, here we go. Here's one. For anybody listening out there, the kid in Germany, girl wants to write a children's book looking back on any trials and error, because this was an idea. You put it into execution. If there's one or two things like you could think of that you would tell that kid in Germany, hey, make sure you do this, or this would have saved you time. Avoid this. Any tips or advice you think of anybody wanting to write a children's book? You just kind of went for it. Was there any side research, knowing you? I'm sure there was, of like, what can I say and not say in a children's book? Any child psychology? You got 4 test dummies.
That's true. I have test subjects. Things I would do or not. I mean, there's such like little technical things with making a book. Like,
yeah, tell me about them, dude.
Like this is a 9x12 book.
Right.
And it's hard to print 9x12. Little did I know that.
Mm-hmm.
It's much easier to print on 8.5x11, but to do it landscape versus portrait. I mean, these things, the material's been kind of a pain in the butt.
Hindsight 2020.
Just the type of material for the pages, how they lay flat versus glue. There's so many technical things in making a book that I would be happy to explain to anyone in depth about my lessons, what I've learned.
And you can DM IG handles at the B-Ball Book.
Yeah, but otherwise, I think you just got to
start.
Like you said, yeah, you just got to start. You just got to do it. And it ain't perfect. This book is far from perfect, but I think you just got to have a vision and do it. And do it for you. Don't do it for anyone else but you.
And why should people read to their kids? There's so many benefits. I mean, they can Google that, but their learning, memory, cognitive function, right? Their brains are rapidly developing. It's okay to read to infants. I was researching that people often start stop way too early. That you should actually read to them up till 11. And 2/3 of kids who actually have less than a fourth grade reading level are far more likely to end up in jail, which is pretty crazy of just how simple literacy skills are so important, and the emotional bond, right? The empathy and actually spending that time with your kid and them hearing you, they love to hear you. So, just some tad bit, a little research that I did of why we should read to our kids, and we obviously know it's important, but we don't know sometimes why, right? There's insane benefits. Anything that I missed that you thought, right off the bat, of course you should
reading to
yeah,
kids?
of course you should read to your kids.
Yeah, I find it's
Look, we got art and painting behind him. You find it. I'm sorry I cut you off.
No. I think that I'm sure there are emotional benefits in the future and cognitive development type things. But I just find as a parent, it's kind of your time to. It's usually, I feel like, before bedtime, so it's usually kind of a
story
bonding.
timer.
Yeah, story time to bond and
their spazzes. As improving, it helps them focus, have a little bit more of discipline early by having that pause, calm time, and it seems to be soothing to kids too. Can you believe that was 45 minutes already right now?
I'm impressed. You're a great host.
That's pretty insane. But Steve, say thank you, my man, for letting me into your home. This is awesome. Damn, my guns look pretty big. And that,
not mine.
But we're signing out. I'm going to upload this to YouTube and give it an edit. A huge thank you to Steve for letting me into his home. It says the basketball, but bballbook.com, a children's book written by the man himself, Stephen A. Chang. Peace out, guys. Have a wonderful Sunday. And thank you again for watching. Take care. Amazing.